Now, the prologue was absolutely fantastic to me. It tells the backstory and explanation of how Sasha and Fiona met Felix, failing horribly at a con job attempting to steal his belongings. Instead, the old man hit them with Uno reverse, making them his belonging by taking them under his wing. Now that is the ultimate con. Immediately cutting to the retelling of the battle with the Traveller, coming full circle to the ending of Felix's story by showing how the watch he gave Sasha inevitably ended up bringing her back to life. Very good introduction right off the bat. I like how it doesn't canonize Felix's fate and it's still on the player/reader whether he lives or dies. But then we fast forward to the conclusion of the original story, the main show, the reveal, 10 years in the making. See that? Squint your eyes. Fiona passes out, wakes up, and hears Reese wishing for the ownership and the revival of the Atlas Corporation. Reese fades away, disappearing out of the vault. But then, I shit, you not, this actually happens.
And open!
And whilst it's not Claptrap, the voice is just used to communicate with humans, the being projecting the voice, we don't even know what the fuck it is. Fiona asks the being, and I quote, "And you're what, an Iridian? One of those aliens that built these vaults?" Quite reasonable question, right? And we get, "No, I'm like, you know the Guardians, those construct robot things you fought on the way in here?" "Yeah," Fiona replies. "I'm like one of those, but better. Also, What are we? Why do you... Are you taking the piss? Yes. Yes, you are taking the piss. Iridian lore is the one thing Borderlands should keep grounded and serious. It doesn't need comedy, not everything does. I've pointed this out in my new Tales review too, where the only piece of Iridian lore in that horrible excuse of a game was an Iridian stone translated to a fucking construction service. And we originally assumed that Anthony Burch, whilst being credited for writing in New Tales, probably didn't have a huge role in the process because the quality of that game's writing contradicts his past work so much. But I think we just need to accept that he was responsible for that game's story more than we want to admit, especially with what comes next. After having a long back and forth with a being, Fiona decides to ask for Sasha to be teleported in, as she would know what to ask for. "Fiona, love, you should have just asked for 1,000 more wishes, but we moved." So Sasha gets teleported in, right, with that red escalator pistol that dropped from the Traveller, and she asks for a fucking Typhon de Leon Voltlander figurine, as it would sell for a lot of money. Not the money the figurine would be worth itself, right? No. Almost 10 years. It hurts. Not even Anthony Burch can save us these days, man. Bro just makes it all worse. Anyways, they all go outside the vault, and the two gangs, Reese and Vaughn, and Sasha and Fiona, decide to part ways. This is where they made the decision to visit Eden 5, as no one on Pandora has that sum of money to buy the Voltlander figurine. So whilst they're on the ship flying there and about to land and leave, someone steals the figurine, and Fiona barely manages to get a shot on the guy with her hand pistol. I'm kinda still shocked she still hasn't gotten a new weapon yet. As the thief ran past security gates, Secbots finished the job, killing him upon realising he committed a crime, leaving not only Fiona and Sasha's outfits bloody, but staining the boxed up figurine. Welcome to Eden 5. Eden 5 is the planet Gage grew up on, and it's basically described as a Prometheus-style city, just with the ugly Eden 6 filter, and overall more interesting than Eden 6. They try to get new clothes to look formal for the seller, but they can't afford them, so then they say, fuck it, we ball, and end up going anyway. Now, the seller is a woman by the name of Countess Holloway, who is the owner of Holloway Robotics, creator of the Secbots. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Holloway Robotics are the company who stole Gage's death trap designs. As it happens, actually, Countess Holloway is mother of Marcy Holloway, the girl who ended up dying in an accidental confrontation with Gage by pushing her after she accused Marcy of stealing the death trap designs for their school contest.
You complete tool! And a name! That name sucks! Crimebuster bot? Bitch, are you kidding me?
What's going on in here? I can hear you from across the house.
Dad, now's not a good time.
Whoa, calm down. Why don't you
Marcy Holloway ripped off my robot's designs, used them to build a fascist security bots for the cops, and now she's gonna try to win the science fair with my idea!
Gage's death trap's programming went wrong and recognized Marcy as a bully, leading her to ripping her to pieces.
Okay, anyway, Marcy started gloating. She started pointing and laughing at me, and then she pushed me. Okay, that's when things got messy. Deathtrap recognized Marcy as a threat, so he gave her a quick slash with his Digistruct claws. No big deal. That's what it's supposed to do. And I must have miscalibrated them last night when I was adding the Discord circuits, because the second his claws touched Marcy's skin, she kind of like, okay, she exploded.
Countess Holloway offers them $10 billion after checking the validity of the figure. They accept it when explosion happens. Cut to Gage, who is now a Twitch streamer. I seriously hate this gimmick so much. Gage enters the building, interrupting the deal, and smacks the shit out of Holloway with the stained Vaultlander toy, and yet another explosion. The action figure was rigged with a micro grenade as part of Sasha's preparation just in case plan. Man, why did we get new Tales instead of this? I want a genuine answer. Sure, I have my issues with the book so far, but a lot of these concepts are so cool and I'd love to see them live on screen instead of on paper. This leaves Holloway's face fucked up. Gage ran and Holloway set a $16 billion bounty on her. They then travel to Eden 5's debtors collector's prison where they question the receptionist for the location of the body of Gage's father, as it could have clues of Gage's whereabouts. This section has a pretty little neat telltale Easter egg, as you have multiple options to pick from in the book. You could have either A, charmed her, B, related to a financial situation, or C, bribed her. In typical Telltale fashion, all of these lead to the same outcome of a receptionist going even further on your request of straight up dropping Gage's location. So they go there, but without Sasha. Because Fiona asked for a receptionist to lock her up for a bit, as she's rightfully playing the considerate big sister and doesn't want her to get herself killed. The receptionist kept good on her word, as Gage and Deathtrap clearly ended up playing low in a snack bar turned into a weapons armory in some abandoned ruin known as the Wilds on Eden 5. But oh, Gage was aware of Fiona's presence, as Deathtrap has heat vision. So bro knocked down the wall behind her like the Kool-Aid man and put her in a chokehold. Man, these are becoming harder to make, I swear to God. You genuinely won't believe what happens next. Actually, you will. It's fucking Borderlands. Sasha comes in out of nowhere with a fucking rocket launcher, Rambo style, and ignoring the fact that Fiona suffered a bullet wound to the shoulder, together the two of them managed to defeat and knock out Gage, and Deathtrap got a rocket launcher shot at him. Minor inconvenience. So, I hear you asking, how did Sasha get out? She asked the receptionist nicely a few times. Like, no joke, that's actually what. After delivering Gage's unconscious body, Holloway then ended up underpaying the bounty reward by half, claiming that they don't deserve the full reward as she's the one who lured Gage to the planet to begin with. But with some negotiation skills, Fiona and Sasha managed to get that reward back up to 10 billion, so still quite a bit. I like this. This is cool. It's a cool way to get the money back, but I can't think about the absolute agony my spiritual mind is going through knowing we wasted that cliffhanger of 10 years on a fucking Typhoon the Lagoon Vaultlander, and it wasn't even worth it. That is not how you follow up on an epic cliffhanger, and honestly, I feel disrespected as a fan. Anyways, not even 10 minutes after that happens, Sasha decides to buy a new $1 billion house without even looking at it on the EchoNet. You can imagine how this is gonna end up going. But it didn't go to shit, surprisingly. It got them a pretty nice mansion. Most importantly, it was safe and granted them freedom, which is very new to them considering the outlaw life they lived leading up to this moment. And of course, it's not a Tales from the Borderlands video unless you make the Tumblr shippers happy. Reese and Sasha talk to each other through the EchoNet almost every day. Aww. She even invited him over a few times, but the two are surprisingly living very contrasting lives. While Sasha and Fiona are rich, loaded, balling, Atlas is on fire, and Reese needs to be present on Promethea 24/7. I'm kinda confused why Sasha couldn't help fund Atlas since she has so much money and it's confirmed in the chapter that she has a thing for Reese now. Aww. But after living the life of luxury, Sasha came to the realization that none of this matters. You eventually get bored when you already have all the materialistic items at the disposal of your fingers, there's no more risks, and there's certainly no more reward. This ends up leading to a pretty big argument between the two, where Sasha wishes for a more adventurous life, going as far as suggesting going after a vault she researched about and found on a moon of the planet Gantis, whereas Fiona immediately shuts these ideas down, choosing the big sister approach and prioritizes keeping the two of them safe. There's a quote I really like used here with her telling Fiona that when she died, she saw nothing. Before you're born, you probably see nothing too, making life a vacation from that nothing, and if this is that vacation, It's like she hasn't lived her life in the way she wanted to. Seriously though, this section of the book in chapter 17 is by far my favourite. It's very rare you see characters in the Borderlands franchise being serious and showing raw emotion, and this was one of those moments done perfectly, and I really hope they do more stuff like this in the future because it's good, man. Following the argument, Sasha decided to go on a night walk to find something that can distract her. And just outside the city, she found just that, a max security prison lockup for criminals, and she wanted to talk to a specific someone in there. She entered the prison by paying off the guards, pulled the cloth bag off of Gage's head, and essentially said, "I want to hunt Vault with you." So naturally Gage is like, "Bitch, what the fuck, you killed Deathtrap?" And Sasha's like, "Well, maybe my watch can bring him back." And Gage is like, No, I don't trust you." So to prove it to her, Sasha decides to pull back the plating from the watch, revealing a green crystal inside. Does this sound familiar? And despite this, Gage still doesn't believe her, so I shit you not, Sasha fucking shoots herself and then comes back to life. Once again, sounds familiar. And I'd like to point out how this watch was literally meant to be a one-time use. It quite literally disappears after Sasha uses it at the end of the original game. It's so lame, feels like a cop-out, and I really hate how it feels like they're building up to bringing back Handsome Jack in the universe. So, the plan the girls agreed on is Sasha breaks Gage out, they bring her dad back, and they go hunt a vault. Yippee! After a long fight with the Sekbots guarding the grave, they dig deep until they find the corpse of Gage's deceased father. They shove the crystal onto him, and for some reason, it doesn't work. The two girls decide to run off into Gage's unnamed ship, receiving the information that the vault on Gantis is actually a trap and a bandit ambush site. Upon landing on the moon, immediately they enter a gunfight with moon bandits. Sasha gets hit with a buzz axe in her chest, but it's no worry, because she has the crystal to heal her. The bandits ran away and cleared a path to the vault after realising they were no match for our two girls, and along the path there were dead guardian corpses who the bandits presumably took out. They open the vault and the Scuttler comes out. He's described as a six-legged spider essentially with an eye on its back, which was its crit spot. They killed him pretty quickly, joining the club of victims who've been killed by Sasha's micronade, and the vault glowed. This wasn't the type of vault you enter, this was the type of vault you loot explosion. Like the one in Dragon Keep. Loot falls out, they get guns. Gage happy, Sasha not so much. She realised that despite thinking she wants this so much, it didn't fill in that void. As the book puts it, she's the same old Sasha, just with more guns. Back to Fiona, who's worried sick. She tracked bank account spendings to the prison, kicks Gage's cell door down, expecting to find her, assuming she played some part in Sasha's disappearance. But nope. Sasha returned home 2 days later with Gage, and to shut down her wishes of crashing at their house, Fiona gives Gage the location of Deathtrap's chassis. After a less heated and more emotional back and forth between Sasha and Fiona, they decide that maybe to fill in that void, they need to help Gage with a Deathtrap problem and take out Countess Holloway for good. Rise and shine, it's the morning. Oh, and Countess Holloway is knocking on the door with a gift, revealing to be a Claptrap Vaultlander figurine. Vaultlander funny, guys. She came in with suspicions of the girl's involvement in helping Gage escape. She didn't bring it up, but she was hoping something would slip through Fiona's mouth. On the stairs is Sasha with a fucking assault rifle about to pull the trigger, yet unsuccessfully, as Fiona, no joke, Bruce Lee's the Countess's chair, leading her to flying back. "What is the meaning of this?" she says. "There was a big bug," Fiona replies, somehow successfully convincing her. She walks up to Sasha, and following a discussion, they decide on, yeah, let's fucking kill her. But Holloway was looking at them talking the whole time. She grabbed Sasha's gun, pointed it to her own head, and said, "Do it. But me and every other elite on this planet have a deal. You murder one of us, you'll have every other elite on your back blasting you." And obviously, knowing this information, believe it or not, they let her go. But not long after that, Sasha actually found something she had fun doing. She noticed a bunch of cleaners in their house had cuffs on, only unlocked once the holder pays off their debt. So the two billionaires went around freeing everyone from captivity, and they realised how happy they made everyone. So, to keep going, the girls look up the amount of debt everyone totals to on the planet, and the result is over 100 billion. Fiona attempts to reach out to a random billionaire to see if they can get a donation, as they can't pay that debt off alone. They don't have anywhere near enough money to do that, but But they get a laugh in response. And so, because billionaires bad except us, Fiona and Sasha decide they want to go on one last con job to grift for richest people on Eden 5. Billionaires from all over Eden 5 received an invite from our two con artists to come to their house for a fake gala event, where our protagonists got them as drunk as possible and fed them with donation requests for stronger sec bots and tighter prisons. They also told the billionaires they don't want Eden 5 to head into the same direction as Pandora, and it's already getting there to scare them, right? But that doesn't last long. As Countess Holloway walks down the stairs, silence begins as she plays the audio recordings recorded by the Claptrap Vaultlander of Fiona and Sasha saying they're gonna con everyone at the party. People obviously retract their donations, right? Outrage begins. Unfortunately though, that wasn't the only thing Holloway found out from the Claptrap figurine. She also found out the location of Gage. I struggle to see how they needed all this to find out where Gage is when they could have just clicked on one of her daily live streams and seen for themselves, but whatever. So she gets caught in the basement of a business in the town named Russville where she's collecting all the pieces of Death Trap into a bag when suddenly the whole town gets Hiroshimaed by an orbital laser. And Gage surrenders. As this happens, Fiona runs up to and puts Holloway in a chokehold, attempting to turn off the orbital laser with a remote, though unsuccessful as she's a Pandoran dumbass. So Holloway does it for them upon hearing that Gage surrendered. Holloway then left Fiona and Sasha's mansion, not killing them but seizing their bank accounts and evicting them first thing in the morning. Forgetting their own problems and feeling guilt and responsibility for the attack on Rustville, the girls grabbed medical supplies and went over to help immediately. Now, Rustville is a town of poverty, so as you'd expect, people would use this disaster to their advantage and start mugging people, which is what Fiona was a victim to. Welcome to Britain. First, a bandit slashed her medical bags into a river of blood, and then he slashed her twice. Oh, and he also stabbed her in the hand. She's in danger of bleeding out and needs medical help fast. She runs to the debtor's prison where she meets the receptionist, Laurel again, where you once again have a pretty cool Telltale reference where you can A. Ask nicely, B. Bribe her, or C. Threaten her. All of which once again lead to the same outcome of Fiona passing out and Laurel helping her. But it was a dream. Whilst Fiona did reach the debtor's prison, she bled out and died. And then you already know what happens. But whilst, yes, she did arrive at the debtor's prison, she never spoke with Laurel. That's why when Fiona woke up, she saw her bleeding out. They tried the crystal didn't work because it was too late or something. I don't know, this crystal just chooses when to fucking work. Which is a shame, because I actually really liked her character in this book. By far my favourite addition to the Borderlands cast from here. It's the next morning, and Fiona and Sasha are packing their bags and start walking to the spaceport, ready to fly back to Pandora, when unexpectedly they get a video call from Reese. It's been so long since she's seen him, she mistook his newly grown mustache for a glitch in the ecosystem. Pretty nice tie-in to Borderlands 3. And they also surprisingly address his voice actor change by saying he had 3 voice surgeries and that's why he sounds so different. I feel like they could have left that alone and not brought it up, but always could have been worse. So, what's going on with my girlfriend? Maybe? Reese says. Oh boy. Sasha sighed, her legs still carrying her to the spaceport, even though the G-word made her want to lie face down on the road and roll back home. I'm sorry, Reese, we've talked about this. I know, I just thought maybe you needed time, but now we've had time and my company is actually doing pretty well now, and it's not about you, I promise. I like you a lot. Really? That's so cool. Sasha grimaced at how deeply uncool this man whom she found attractive truly was. There's something missing for me, not about you, and until I find what that thing is, I can't honestly commit to anything. I'd just be wasting your time. I'm a CEO, Sasha. My time exists to be wasted. I don't know what to tell you, Reese. Okay, Reese said, trying his best to not look crestfallen. The mustache helped to hide it a little. That's fine, I'm patient, unless that sounds too desperate. I mean, I want you to be happy, so however I can do that, even if it means giving you space, thank you. Sasha said, exhaling. He really was at heart a sweet guy. He was prone to being impulsive and selfish at times. He was, after all, a guy. But she cared about him, could see the two of them being something more eventually. I had to put that extract in there fully. I went through the pain, and so will you. Regardless though, Sasha fills Reese in. He wishes he could do that to her in reverse. About the whole Eden 5 law, and Reese questions why they don't just kill Holloway before leaving, which is a question that leaves Sasha and Fiona furious due to the destruction they've already accidentally caused attempting to. But Reese justifies this question by telling them that they have Fiona, who is at heart a Vault Hunter, and they've already tried helping the planet the civilized and polite way. It's time to blow shit up. So, at the end of the day, they request Reese to send them a fuck ton of guns and retrieve them from the shipping bay with the help of the now repaired death trap. It was all going to plan until metal detectors recognized the weapons disguised as mustache wax, which started a high-speed chase between our trio and the Secbots. During which, Fiona was having a heated debate with Sasha about how she has to pull the metaphorical trigger on the relationship with Reese as it's unfair to keep him uncertain. All whilst pulling actual triggers, shooting the Secbots behind them. They lost them, left Death Trap as a Secbot wouldn't be welcomed in Rustville after the orbital laser incident, and after some inconveniences like the residents wanting to rob the girls for money, and claim the $16 billion bounty Holloway put on their heads, they managed to win them over and march to the Holloway estate. The Civil War has begun. The plan was to storm a gala event Holloway invited Sasha, Fiona, and every billionaire on Eden 5 to, with others disguising themselves as cooking and cleaning staff, with the remaining revolutionists hidden in a massive Typhon de Leon sculpture with weapons which cannot pass the metal detectors until deactivated, having the door open to them through the security room. The two managed to get into the security room, managed to see the sculpture outside on the security feed when BANG! Torture room. Oh, Gage, ha! Holloway starts yapping on the speaker, telling our gang that she's not stupid and she knows there's people probably hidden within the sculpture, and that's why she blasted her auto turrets at the thing for 10 minutes straight. Two Secbots alongside a torture bot fly into the room. Holloway commands Fiona to be tortured first, and that's when Death Trap comes in and saves the day. He was hidden with and protecting the others under the Typhon de Leon statue, and as soon as the turret stopped, he hacked Sasha and Fiona's Echo to find their location. However, he didn't come alone. Bro was packing heat and gave the gang 3 Atlas pistols, revealing from his front panel. Running up the manor, Gage realizes she wants to kill everyone in the building, though Fiona stops her and changes her mind by saying they only kill Holloway and force the rest of the alive billionaires to pay off everyone's debt. They ran into the room, killing the 12 Secbots in their way, and they let everyone in. And as they gain control of the main room, having billionaires donate their money to clear everyone's debt, Holloway remotely locks the whole estate and targets an orbital laser above it, while she chills in the comfort of her own panic room. This is where they realize the laser only targets the debt cuffs, so they use all the alive billionaires' money to free their people and throw all the cuffs at Holloway's impenetrable panic room door. Meanwhile all this is going on, the building is falling apart. Sasha almost falls into the newly invented deep path to the sewers, but is saved by Fiona. But what isn't saved is the crystal. Guess we now know how it ends up in New Tales, I guess. The door melts. Fiona enters the room. Gage sprints into the room, ordering Holloway to donate all her money and she'll spare her. Holloway lost her daughter, Gage lost her father, they're even. Nah, Holloway said. Splat. Holloway's body also said, as Gage threw it into one of the holes created by the laser. Gage decides to keep vault hunting whilst also having a side gig, which leads to her being a wedding planner in Borderlands 3. And our two girls decide to stay as a duo and keep vault hunting. The book ends with a message to Reese from Fiona saying Sasha sees him as a long-time boyfriend now. Aww. If only this was actually mentioned in Borderlands 3. And that they're gonna hunt more radiant powers, like the Anahatian crystal. Yay! Book end. My review is, it's better than New Tales out of 10. And if you're wondering where Fiona is now, she actually appears in the post-credit scene of that monstrosity.
Not bad for 3 nobodies. And a robot. After that, Promethea returned to business as usual. Corporate squabbles, casual murders, holidays with the family.
So, any idea where the shard is heading?
Not a clue. No one's made any sense of its trail.
It's funny. This Anu and Octavio, 2 siblings who hadn't spoken in years, but ultimately risked their lives for each other. 2 halves of a whole.
That resonates with you?
Oh, yeah. That's the key to this whole thing, isn't it?
Wait, what are you saying?
I'm saying no one's looked at the bigger picture.
It's headed into the Gladius Nebula. Great find, Fiona. And she's gone. And she took my wallet? Con artists.
Jesus Christ, this makes me cringe so fucking much. And it's so disrespectful too, like how are you gonna make a new Tales from the Borderlands game and only leave one of the main characters, the one we actually care about, for the post-credit scene and that's it? Where did we go wrong, man? Honestly though, good book. There's a lot of obviously less important details that I left out, or else this video would have been 10 times longer than it already is. But I managed to get most things explained in this video, and I hope I did a good job. Seriously though, if you have any questions about the book, like you want to know if something in particular happens, or if a character gets mentioned, or anything along those lines, definitely make sure to ask in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to get to you with an answer. Definitely a fun read. I didn't read it, I got a text-to-speech to do it for me, but regardless, it was fun. I really like how it's written in the perspective of Fiona. Things I didn't like is the overuse of the very unfunny Vaultlander jokes and why it doesn't explain why Reese and Sasha stopped communicating, but I guess we'll find out in the future. I also don't like how this is a book and not a fucking game. It would have been so much better than new Tales. But yeah, that's it for the video. Like and subscribe and all that. This is probably one of, if not my longest video yet, so I'm hoping you all enjoyed the little Photoshop thing with me moving the characters around on screen. Yeah, I think it's made me suicide. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Stay classy. Peace.